All right, so this is the third and final session that I'll be leading for Make the Magic. This time, we're talking about enhancing event revenue. So we'll go through introduction again. Paddle raise portion, very important portion of your program and your event. Retention and enhancing revenue, some donor barriers, continued involvement, and then things that you should be focusing on leading up to the event 1 to 2 months prior. Kind of already talked about it a little bit in our first session, but we'll dive into it again just for a reminder of some of the things that we should be focusing on. Activity, if you'd like. No, it's a quiz. You won't be doing it. And then that's it for the session. So let's go ahead and jump in. If you haven't watched the other 2 sessions, my name is Shane, or my Kesem name is Flash. Pronouns are he, him, his. I'm the manager of chapter giving at Kesem, just supporting y'all with all of your major campaigns. And I'm passionate about this session because there are really easy ways to increase revenue and giving. And that means that at the end of the day, y'all are taking more back to your chapter and be able to have a greater impact in your community. So that's why this session is important and great. Okay, the paddle raise portion. So preparing for and running a paddle race. First thing you'll need to do is determine your giving levels. So what are the levels that you set in the past? Did those work well? Did they not? Maybe you want to go down in your highest level. Maybe you want to go up and try another one. Work with your PC to be able to figure out what makes the most sense for those levels and get those approved before you add them to your event program. Definitely secure advanced pledges at your highest levels. So we're really nervous about our $2,500 level for the paddle raise. Okay, let's see if we can talk with our advisory board members, see what they think, and see if any of them would be willing to give at that level. If not, you can do some major donor outreach and see if you've had some folks that have given major gifts in the past. Be like, hey, we're really excited about our event and that you're going to be attending this year. And we'd like to see if we can secure a pledge from you in advance of our event at the $2,500 level. Would you be willing to give and support the organization at this level? And then see if they're willing to do that. If you're doing this early, some folks really like to do it before the end of the year. So if it's December, might be a decent time to reach out and try to secure that. If you're not quite there yet, that's okay. You can just reach out when it makes sense and you finalize those. Incorporate an icebreaker. It should be in the script, but make sure that folks feel comfortable with their paddles, make sure that they know what they're supposed to be doing with them, and that if they raise it and their number is called, they're going to be giving that much money, that they need to keep it up until their number is called. Just make sure that we feel good about it. If you're like, I don't feel good about it, that's okay. We're going to run through it now and talk about it. It's also all written in the script. And if you had someone that attended Summit, they most likely were at Mock Make the Magic, so they should have a pretty good understanding of that because we do run through a full paddle race and a full event during Mock Make the Magic. So essentially how it works is you'll have your MCs and they'll explain this is the portion where you get to give back. They've heard a lot about Kesem, and now this is the opportunity to be able to support our camper families and Kesem and our mission and be able to make sure that we're able to fulfill that mission of supporting a child through and beyond their parents' cancer. So we're going to start at our highest level of donation at $2,500 and work our way down to our lowest donation level at $50. Throughout this process, we'll start and we'll explain the first level. If you'd like to donate at that level, you'll raise your paddle. Keep your paddle raised nice and high until we call out your number so that your table hosts can take note of you donating at that level. Once your number has been said, you can place it down, and then we'll move on to the next one once we've made it through all of those paddles. So then you'd say, okay, who wants to donate at the $2,500 level? Great, number 118. Great, number 72. Awesome, thank you. Number 52, so on and so forth until you've gotten all the paddles. And then you'll repeat that process. At the various donation levels, you might be like, at $1,000, this would provide a year of programming through and beyond for a camper. Who wants to donate at the $1,000 level? So you might have what this will help support attached to each of those levels. And that helps people get a better understanding of like, oh, I'm going to help fund this part of Kesem. So that's really cool. And there's some examples in the script for those paddle raise levels as well. So it's a very brief overview, and we'll talk about enhancing the paddle raise a little bit as well. And here it is. So some tips and tricks, last paddle standing. I think this is really fun. It brings a lot of energy and also brings a lot of additional revenue. And this is at the lowest donation level. So what you'll need to do is secure a mid to high level in-kind donation that you can offer up at your lowest level. And the last person to donate at that donation level wins the item. Just make sure that you remind guests that each time they raise their paddle, it'll count as a donation. So let's say you've secured a really awesome mountain cabin trip that's been paid for, and that's what you're going to have as your last paddle standing. Or maybe you've secured tickets to a Chiefs game. Go Chiefs. And that's what you're going to have as your last paddle standing. So you'll mention that. You can mention the value and then explain, we're going to keep going until we have one more paddle. So this should hopefully take a lot. It's at your lowest level. So people are like, okay, I don't mind giving $20 5 times. So you'll say 118, 72, 56, and then maybe 118 really wants it. So 118 goes again, and then another number, and then you might have a holdout, and we're back to 118, and then nobody else wants to do it, and you've made it through everyone, and then congratulations, paddle like guest number 118, you've won the prize. You maybe have them come up, say their name, whatever you want to do, and then you've made hundreds of dollars at the lowest level again. So that's really exciting, really fun. Like I said, brings a lot of energy. So that's a really cool revenue enhancer that you can add to your paddle race. What's really important is that we train our table hosts. So they have a very important job during the paddle race portion of the event, and that's documenting the donations. So they need to be making sure that they're paying attention to their table. You'll see we have some lovely volunteers here that are supporting their guests, and they're going to be able to document and keep track of that. You can either have table hosts on the outside of your event for the venue, or you could have them placed inside. If they are inside and we're in the middle of programming, I recommend them just like squatting a little bit, trying to get out of eyesight so that people can see the stage, and also so that folks can see who's raising their paddle. But they need to make sure that they're documenting that. And then at checkout, they should be going to their donors. They'll be prompted to go to them and have them check out via scanning the QR code to be able to donate to your Kasi page. If they'd like to have a pledge card to make an additional donation, they can do that and write their credit card information on there. They can also do cash or check. If they don't want to use their phone or don't have a smartphone and you'll have Wi-Fi or hotspots that would work, you can also have a couple computers at the back and mention that, like, if you don't have this and would like to do it on a computer, we have a couple in the back, and mention that as a way to do that. The only way the QR codes and the computers are possible is if you have Wi-Fi or good cell signal. So make sure that you feel confident about that. Also, different carriers and providers. So just make sure that you have good signal and good Wi-Fi. You can ask your venue. I would recommend y'all checking in person when you go visit it or when you're setting up, and then have those papers ready if you need a backup for them to be able to fill out their credit card information at check-in if they need to. Retention. So this is really key. So really focus on retaining those guests who have attended previously, retaining any donors, and securing their commitment to return to the event. And if they're a major donor, maybe secure their commitment to donate at that high level. So that's really important. We just keep bringing those people and that revenue back in the door and stewarding them. So make sure that we're very friendly and kind and welcoming to them at the event. Thank you so much for returning and continue to support the organization. So good to see you again this year. A personalized thank you afterwards. All of those things are really important. Excuse me. And also stewarding them up to the event. So individualized, personalized message to them. Also a call, a text, or whatever about early bird special. Just be like, we'd love to see you at the event again. We know that you've come the past 3 years. Right now we do have an early bird special and want you to be able to take advantage of this early bird pricing. If you're available for the event, we'd love to see you there. So that's a really great, easy way And then you just build on that. Hopefully you have some new volunteers, you have some new advisory board members, and they're going to invite their friends and family, and that's just going to help your event continue to grow and grow. This is especially important though for family members of alumni themselves, of retaining them. If we can keep them connected to the mission, connected to the organization, and the impact that they're having, they're more likely to continue to return. For alumni, definitely get them more engaged, and retaining them and wanting them to stay involved at the chapter level can be super beneficial. I know at my home chapter, I still attend my event. We create a whole table, 2 tables of alumni, and if folks aren't able to attend, we do pool donations from our alumni as well to be able to give at a higher paddle raise level, and be able to continue to support our home chapter. So definitely work with your alumni, see if you can get some really engaged and excited folks to be able to handle that and reach out to their alumni friends and people that they graduated with and stuff to see if they'd want to attend and continue to come back to the event as well. Revenue enhancements. So no more than 1 additional revenue enhancer for the event beyond the paddle raise. This is really to prevent donor fatigue. If you're making multiple asks of them, they feel like they've already donated. And the easiest one and the one that costs no money for us is the paddle raise, outside of like a few dollars for printing. But it's very low cost for us and very low energy. And all they have to do is raise their paddle and then boom, there's $1,000. So we don't want to have too many other enhancers that will take away from that, because we see that it's really, really successful in generating revenue for Make the Magic events. If you're doing any revenue enhancements, your program coordinator's approval is required if you're going to be doing this, and they're going to make sure that it makes sense for y'all, that y'all have the time to be able to do it, that it's going to not take away from your paddle raise or your event. So make sure that you get coordinator approval before you continue with this revenue enhancer. Here are a list of 3 that we see that are most common. These are also included in the resources. So a silent auction. It typically raises 50% of the item's value. So this can help. These should all be in kind that we've secured, so they should not be purchased and then resold. This needs to be in kind. So this does take a lot of legwork, and that's one reason why we sometimes discourage this for chapters, is it takes a lot of time and effort to be able to secure these donations in advance to be able to hold a silent auction. Also make sure that you have enough items for it to be worth the guest's time to be able to look at various options for them to be able to do that. And then also have volunteers that are focused on securing items and putting the packages together, and folks that are responsible for monitoring that during the event, and make sure that you have a good process for how you're going to have it set up, how long you're having it open for, when you're going to announce, and how you're going to get those to the folks that have won those packages. Live auction. So this yields a little bit more of the item's value. You'll want to obtain something that's unique or high value, or experiences that would be worthy of a live auction. So this is normally a higher price, higher ticket item. So I've seen, I don't know, cabin getaways, helicopter rides, like various things or experiences that are of higher value that are used during live auction. We don't want a ton of live auction items, because it does take a lot of time, and also, again, taking away from other donations from the paddle raise. So we recommend at least 2 items, but no more than 4 during a live auction, and just make sure that we feel good about who's going to be auctioning those off and how, and that we secured those in advance. And again, those are in-kind donations that are secured in advance for the service or the good, not something that we've pursued and purchased on our own. And then a third one that we have here is fund, need, wall, or tree. So you'll create a wall that has listings of items that are needed and a cost associated with them. So the example listed here is the glow stick for 10 campers would cost $20. Name tags for 5 campers would cost $15. And then folks would donate at that level. You can have pictures of campers and like quotes or whatever to be able to help them connect with the mission or the item that they might be helping fund. And then you'll want to have a volunteer there to be able to explain it record the item, price, guest name, bid number, so that they can be charged at the end of the event. We do want to keep the range between 5 and 50, no higher than your lowest paddle raise level. What that is, we want to keep it low in hopes that they're going to continue to participate during the paddle raise option as well. Donor barriers. So really important that we have a positive guest experience and that they feel like they had a great time, were well informed, and that it was really easy for them to be able to attend and participate and process their donation. So the biggest thing is information and making sure that they have everything that they need leading up to the event. There's communication that's sent out to all the people that we're hoping are going to attend the event, and there's communications that should be sent out to all the people that have purchased a ticket. So we want to be able to thank them for attending the event, let them know that we'll have more details coming as we get closer to it, send a reminder about it coming up, and then send another communication about all the details that they need. This is where it is, this is what time, this is what you should wear. Maybe you're doing a theme and what that is and what it looks like, where they should park, all of the ways that they can be able to donate so that they're prepared to do that. Anything else that you can think of that might be important for the donor to know coming into the event. So make sure that we've done that and that they have everything that they need so that we get them in the door. As I mentioned, our donation processing has changed. So these are the ways that they can donate. QR code that they can scan and make a donation. A reminder that Classy now works with Apple Pay. So it makes it a little bit easier for them to be able to make a donation, but you'll want to let them know that that is an option for them to be able to do that and to have their smartphone handy if they'd like to do that, and be able, their table host can support them with making that. Pledge cards, table host will have that and hand that during the paddle race portion of the event. And they would write down all their credit card information, and we'll just remind them that those will be processed 24 to 48 hours after the event. And then cash and check. Make sure that you have a cash box and that everyone knows who is responsible. Oftentimes, this is going to be your treasurer if they're able to attend the event, and they're going to be responsible for handling cash and checks. And those should, again, be processed and sent in within 24 to 48 hours. Reminder to have them go through and make sure that they're handling offline donations in the proper way, and that those are being sent in using the deposit form and mailing it into the national PO box. And that covers ways that they can donate. Just a reminder, like, we want to make sure that they have all the information available to them, that everything is accessible. Make sure you work with your venue to be able to provide accommodations if needed. Also, like with meals, making sure that we've communicated that with our vendors of if they're going to be, if we have any dietary restrictions or allergies that we need to accommodate for, and make sure that we get those to them in advance. Any follow-up with the guests as well, if we're like, we're not really sure what this means, make sure that we reach out to them in advance so that we can make sure that they have a positive experience with their meal as well, because that's also very important. And then continued involvement. So this might be their first time engaging with Kesem, or maybe they feel really passionate or time is freed up. So they can still stay involved if you have folks that are asking you, like, what can I do now? Or in your follow-up, you're like, oh, I loved it, I would love to support it more. Here are some opportunities. Advisory board members, if they feel like a good fit for that, if you are still looking for folks, that's a great opportunity. Friends and Family Day, have them attend those events to be able to meet some more of the families, be able to witness some of the Kesem magic. They can help recruit more families. They can have some brochures or some PDF version. Volunteer recruitment, if they know of anyone that might want to be involved, either at your university or across the country. Corporate alliances, if they work for an organization that might want to sponsor. Also matching, remind them that if their business, their company does matching, that they can submit for matching for their donations. And then any connections to area foundations. So we might be able to pursue some institutional funding and some grants if they have connections to any of those boards. So these are some ways that guests can stay involved if they're like, I want to do more. Great, here are some options. And then lastly, our priorities leading up to the event. Push for ticket sales. So there's a whole session. Session 1 will cover push for ticket sales, engage your new volunteers, have them invite people, fill the room, host call and textathon to be able to message all the people and be like, hey, we'd love to see you there. Are you coming? And then towards the end, if you have the capacity and there are folks that we've identified that we think would be great for this, some comp tickets, work with your PC, get approval for that before we're comping tickets or tables for guests. Communication. Communicate with vendors, communicate with volunteers, communicate with your speakers, and communicate with your guests. Very important that all those folks know what's going on, they have everything that they need, and that they feel supported and like they have the information available to them to be able to attend the event, volunteer for the event, speak at the event, or provide any of the resources, meals, whatever necessary for that. Make sure that we're hitting deadlines with our vendors as well. Very important. Plan in advance if we're sending a check payment. This can take up to 2 to 3 weeks for us to get that. So if there's a deadline for getting payments to our caterer, to our venue, make sure we worked with our PC and our treasurer, and we are sending those payments early and on time to be able to maintain that relationship so that hopefully if things go well, we can return the next year. And then volunteer training. Very important that this is happening. Secure your volunteers early, train them on their specific role, make sure that they know what they're doing, run through the entire event, and make sure that they feel comfortable interacting with folks. I know this might be their first time being in an event like this. They're not really sure what to do, what to say. Make sure that they feel confident in like that elevator pitch for Kesem and how to talk about their experiences, how they got involved, what their Kesem name is. There's a lot of different ways that they can engage with the guests throughout the night. That's really important. That helps enhance the experience for our guests, and that creates connections for our Kesem members to be able to have an impact for that night and a way for them to be included and a part of the chapter as well. And that's it. We don't have the quiz for y'all. So that's it for this session, the third session. If you've watched all of them, thanks for watching along and learning more about Make the Magic. I wish you all the best in your planning and execution of the event. I'm super excited for events this year, and that so many of chapters are getting back to in person, and I'm really confident that we're going to see an increase in participants and an increase in revenue. So good luck. Remember, as always, you have your resources, your workbooks, your directors, and your program coordinators to help support you in making this event happen and making that money so that we can make more mission and serve more families. So thank you all so much, and good luck again. Bye.